back to another episode of Men on Trek, Season 4, Episode 3. Back again, Admiral Red Shirt, Captains Daystrom and Palpatine. Oh, Jake Palpatine is in the house.
I don't know if you're going to see Jim Palpatine for a while.
It's Big Jake. It's Big Jake Palpatine, ladies and gentlemen.
Big Jake does the troll episode. So, yeah.
Tonight's episode, Devil in the Dark.
Devil in the Dark.
Originally, Season 1, Episode 25, 26 if you count the cage. Mm-hmm. Aired on March 9th, 1967.
It's got to be the last episode for the year.
No, there were 30 episodes in the first season. Big season.
We got a lot of work out of them, didn't they?
Yeah, we're not used to that these days. Yeah. So, Devil in the Dark, gentlemen. The Horta.
Good.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Good episode.
Yeah.
Underrated. I think it's an underrated episode.
Underrated by who?
It's overlooked a lot, I think.
Gene L. Kuhn.
Yeah.
Is it Penvey? Penvey?
Penvey?
The director?
I didn't catch it. I know Gene L. Kuhn wrote it and produced.
I think it was a Penvey.
Could
direction.
be. Could be.
Doesn't get better than that as far as combination.
No.
Sir William looked a little off physically to me. I don't know what it was.
No, at the beginning he looked pretty trim. I think over the course of filming this episode he might have picked up a little weight.
No, he's in the girdle the whole episode. I think what happens is in the later parts of the episode you're getting some kneeling and some bending down and you see it. Whereas when he's standing up because of the correction, you don't see it. They slim him down, but
the other guy was yellow jumpsuit was definitely girdled.
Oh well, he's an administrator. He doesn't have to be slim.
Chief engineer.
Yeah. Definitely girdled, man.
Yeah. He's an administrator. He doesn't have to be slim.
I mean, no, Sir William just looked under the weather to me. I guess.
Think so?
And maybe it was just the lighting in the tunnels.
Well,
there's a lot of green and purple down there.
There was excessive purple mascara.
Yeah.
Whole cast.
Yeah.
Like maybe that was a thing in the 60s. Maybe because the way film was back then, that was the way to bring out the highlights on the film. I don't know. But in the high def, everybody just looks like, they got purple mascara on, which they do.
Yeah.
And what it kept jumping out at me is it gave everybody a slightly bloodshot look.
Mm-hmm.
It gave it around the eyes. It made them look a little weird around the eyes.
Yeah.
I missed that. I wasn't looking at them like that.
The opening shot though was not a digitally remastered planet. That was an original.
Yeah.
First gen, cloud covered, no land masses.
No, I think it's the opposite. I think it
Really?
was all land mass.
Really?
And when you looked at the details, there was what appeared to be. They took the time to show what appeared to be maybe roads and things.
Really?
There were markings on the planet.
Maybe they did redo it.
They had to touch it up some.
Okay.
They had to touch it up some. It looked good.
Yeah.
Now, what looked really good is when they showed the mining facility.
Yeah, the mining facility looked far better.
They had shadowed in some guys standing around, walking around, and give you some sense of scale.
Yeah.
Blinking lights.
Yeah.
Wasn't just a matte painting.
Yeah, like it was before.
And we saw that in where No Man Has Gone Before, when they went down to the planet, it was a mining facility. Those images to me still look really cool.
Yeah.
Like they still it's like the definition of a sci-fi sort of landscape.
Yes. And they hold up.
They
They don't look cheesy. They tell you this is a mining colony. You look at it and you go, yeah, that's a facility.
Desi Lou dropped that money up front.
Yeah, they were spending money Season 1. They were spending big money. The set, this episode is really a good example of that. That whole underground set. I'm sure they built a facility, and we spend the rest of the episode just going through it at different angles for the most part. But the fact that they did that and it plays well, it looks good. You can buy. Okay, we're underground. We're moving through various tunnels. It came off really good.
Well, the whole mining facility is underground.
Yeah. Like even when they pull back on the facility, that's a dome. That's a domed rock.
Yeah.
So they're tunneling under a cavern to begin with.
The Pergium must flow.
Yeah, the Pergium must flow.
Ooh-wee. Ooh, did somebody rip off Star Trek?
Gotta. Well, you can make an argument about who ripped who at that point. I think Herbert might have came in first in that argument. Maybe, I'm not sure. You guys know that better than I do. I'm not a Dune aficionado.
I know Herbert was 65. I think somewhere in there.
So,
I'm not sure when Dune actually
Dune,
got
Arrakis,
produced.
mining planet.
Yeah, different kind of mine though. The mining wasn't done underground.
No.
August 1965.
Yeah.
First edition of Dune.
So
The Pergium must flow.
So when was this episode done?
67.
Ooh.
Somebody read a book.
Ooh.
Maybe not.
Ooh.
Pretty common trope. Conflict ensues because a mineral must be obtained.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the government don't care how they obtain it.
And dozens of worlds depend on it.
Yes. Now, so
I have to say that I think Track ripped them off.
are you getting sandworm vibes from our friend the Hoarder? You getting?
There's too many things that are coincidental. Yep.
Are there no coincidences?
There are, but there's a lot laying together here in this episode.
No coincidences, only lazy writing?
I don't want to say that, but too many things are lining up too well.
Well, it's a Gene L. Coon episode, and I love him, so
he can do no wrong.
Oh, he can do wrong,
He
but
can't play.
I'm believing it's
He can't do the play.
I'm believing he read a good book over the summer and it was a homage.
An homage.
An homage.
That makes it legal
Yes.
because it's an homage.
Yes. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah, keep lying to yourself.
Hey, I'm working here. It's making it sound good.
All right, Admiral.
All right. So, the Enterprise arrives at our mining colony, and well, no, let me back up a step. They flip it on us. They started the mining colony, and the Enterprise has not arrived yet. And our miners have a problem. They are posting armed guards in the mine, trying to stop this mysterious creature.
I've been like, I quit.
I don't get paid.
It's an interesting start.
It is an interesting start.
Because they're walking down and they're going down. They're setting up the guard.
Yeah, they're changing the guard.
The main guy's talking to the guard. And
Who's from Brooklyn?
Yeah.
The guard's from Brooklyn. He's like, hey, what are we doing down here?
Yeah.
Schmitter.
He came all the way from Brooklyn, Earth, way out to this boondock planet.
Schmitter.
And he's basically telling the
to
chief,
get splattered by the border.
He goes, I'm gonna get killed. It's gonna come kill me right now.
It's gonna wipe me out.
And he goes, don't worry, the Enterprise is coming. You're gonna be down here for 3 hours. He goes, do you think it could get here in 4 hours?
Yeah, Administrator Vandenberg is encouraging his men.
And they've already took a shot at it.
And they've already shot it, and their little Type 1 phasers are not going to get it.
And he said, well, I got this. What am I supposed to do with this? Give me a Brooklyn accent. What am I supposed to do with this?
What am I supposed to do with this, Chief? I got nothing here.
I would have been like, I quit. I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
I'm not standing guard.
Yeah, these guys aren't Starfleet.
Do you know there's this theme about miners throughout this?
That they're
the
tough.
cloud miners,
Yes.
the miners with mud and everything.
Yeah.
They're all got a piece. They're like co-owners, like they own it, right? So the reason they're putting up with so much is because
they're
want
getting
their
a piece
claim.
of the pie.
they're getting a piece of the pie. It's almost they're acting like gold miners, you know, in the
prospectors.
1849s,
Yep.
1850s, like you know.
It's definitely that vibe.
Taking the risk to share the profit.
It's not like I'm just an employee,
Right.
Because if I'm just an employee, I'm out.
Yeah.
I've got something to lose here.
Yeah, I came here to dig holes. Why are you handing me a phaser?
Mhm.
No, take that back. I'm not in Starfleet.
And that dude didn't last a hot second.
He lasted 3 minutes.
Hot second.
3
They
minutes.
turned their backs. They walked down the block, and and by the time they came back, the hoarder's gone, and there's a stain on the ground.
It's almost like when they were walking back, they just waved to the Horda as it was moving towards.
Yeah, the hoarder's watching.
What was his name? Schmitty?
Schmitter.
Schmitter?
Yeah.
The dude was.
Schmirrer.
I felt for him. I'm like, dude, you're dead. You're dead.
I didn't feel for him. He didn't get a shot off.
But I love that he said, "Is it true that the Enterprise is on the way?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna help
The
you.
military's coming.
What was Tracy's ship?
Oh.
Yorktown, wasn't it?
No, he wasn't on the
Intrepid?
Yorktown. No, not the Intrepid.
No.
Oh my goodness. Why don't I know this? Captain Tracy. I can't think of it.
Because I would have been like,
consult your electronic brain.
yeah, because I would have been like, is Captain Tracy coming?
It's Captain Tracy coming.
Somebody
rescue me.
He's gonna beat the taste out of the Horta.
Well, you got monster problems and the military's coming.
You
So
got monster
you got monster problems and the military's coming. So you're psyched about that.
Yeah.
You're stoked about that. So sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but Starfleet is the military.
Exeter.
The Exeter.
The
yeah.
Exeter.
You get dispatched.
Who's coming? It's the Exeter. We're gonna be okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Tracy would burn the world
No,
out.
he would.
Tracy will drain 12 phasers and make sure the problem is solved.
Tracy end all life on the planet.
Yeah.
Beam the miners out, burn the planet down, send the miners back.
Tracy's science officer is Dr. Mengele. He goes, "Can we kill them? Can we kill all life on the planet and spare the Phrygium?" "Yes, we can, Captain. Proceed."
What's another mining movie?
Another mining.
Oh my goodness, with the giant blue creatures.
Avatar.
Oh yeah.
That's a mining movie.
Unobtainium.
Unobtainium, where the evil corporation comes in
Controversial take.
to get unobtainium.
Controversial take on Avatar. If you really look at it, the corporation is the good guys. Yep, I said it. The Phrygium, the unobtainium must flow.
The unobtainium must flow. The Pergium must flow. The spice
I'm not letting
must flow.
I'm not letting any native malcontents interfere with my.
Oh my God!
I'm not
You
letting-
guys say I'm bad. The Admiral's gone off the rails. The Admiral's gone off the rails.
Only took him 4 seasons.
The Admiral's gone off the rails. But Starfleet is coming because the
It
Pergium
must flow.
must flow. How many
Dozens.
planets need
Dozens.
Dozens of planets. It's well, the research that Jake over there did at that time is described as the power source for many reactors on many planets in the Federation. It's what they need to keep the lights on.
It's like plutonium,
Yeah.
uranium.
Or 23rd century oil.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's probably
23rd century
better.
oil. You know, it's
23rd century oil.
And we're not going to let this devil in the dark keep us from getting what we need for our civilization.
no.
I wonder how long it took for that body count, because it starts off with 50 dead, and then
3 months.
We're at 51.
3 months.
Okay, 3 months.
Yeah, when they
Three
break
3
open
months when the attacks begin.
when they break open the
The lower tunnels.
So every other day.
Tunnel 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you can even go, where did they also borrow from? Tolkien with the dwarves in Khazad-dûm, they delved too greedily and too deep,
Yeah.
and they awoke the Balrog.
And the last 5 of those 51 were armed sentries. And the one guy tells him point blank, I shot it. I hit it. And it did nothing.
That Type 1 did nothing, boyo.
Yeah, that sky pager wasn't cutting it.
Didn't do it. You need something heavier. I wish they would have gave us some phaser rifles.
Phaser rifles, yeah. They seem to have forgotten about the phaser rifle.
But those Type 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But it took 2 Type 2.
the way they handled it, it took a slight adjustment. You had to set it for
Silicone.
silicone. I'm burrowing in the rock. But the way they handle the Type 2 in the series in general, in modern, if you look at modern weapons, a Type 1 is like a good solid handgun, but the Type 2 is like busting out an M4. A Type 2 is heavy artillery. So if you're going bigger than that, you got real problems.
Yeah.
Which shows us how big a problem Gary Mitchell was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
So
true. But the Horta, like I said, that one guy, he wasn't there a hot second.
51.
And he was worried.
It was interesting. So they beamed down, and there was like a handoff.
changing of the guard.
Well, like the what is he called?
The administrator.
Administrator. Vanderberg is like, look, here's the problem. Now it's yours.
Yeah.
And I'm out of here.
Well,
not leaving, but
but
you got to fix this problem.
Yeah. This is your problem now. It's a you problem, Kirk.
Yeah. He's like, Kirk, my problem is getting for GM. Your problem is making sure it's safe to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you can tell Kirk is just like, here we go again. I got one of these. This is one of these missions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that if the Pergium don't flow, I might not have a captaincy anymore.
Yeah, can you imagine what those orders look like?
Yeah.
Admiral.
Make the Pergium flow regardless.
Yeah, Sector Admiral comes online and goes, Kirk, we have a problem. And you will go fix the problem. The Pergium must flow.
Jimmy, you've been doing good up until now, but
Yeah.
none of that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Think of how many planets that are relying on the Pergium to get to it. So those are the stakes. We're not just talking about one planet, one city. We're talking about multiple planets that are running
systems,
running their society on Pergium.
Right.
And if you use a Vulcan mindset that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one or the few, then the hoarder or whatever it is,
it's a no-brainer.
That is blocking the flow of Pergium has got to be moved.
Well, and we get a bit of that. We get a bit of that that logic as we go forward in the episode. But as we said, number 51 doesn't last. He lasts just long enough for us to get to the credits.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still upset. He didn't get a shot off. He's just standing there whimpering, but he was not trained clearly.
I think they're trying. I think they did that in
trying to illustrate
how fast
it is. Yeah,
the hoarder is.
See, I would have just been randomly firing. If I'm standing a post with that around, I just boop, boop, every 3-4 seconds. Boop, boop, boop.
Maybe.
Yeah, but consider this: that as hot as the hoarder has to get, or the acid the hoarder has to produce to melt through rock, that your phaser's not going to do anything.
Well, that's what they were saying, and you're right. They were trying to convey that it was that fast, but because of the limitations of the time of the filming, it comes off more like the person is paralyzed with fear.
Yeah.
The person's like, and you got a little bit of time where it's like, well, you can get a shot off, dude. But he doesn't, and it's supposed to be, the hoarder's lightning fast, but it comes off like, oh my God, he froze, You
think that's like the nascent zombie 2.0? Like, because most of your monsters were traditionally slow.
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
This sort of like plodding along type of thing. Remember the first Blob?
Yeah.
The first Blob was super slow.
Yeah, the remake was lightning fast.
Lightning fast. They speed it up.
Well, because it's not frightening if you can get up and walk away from it.
Right.
That was the problem. That's the problem with zombies. You can look at them and go, "Oh, there's a zombie." You just walk. I can go down to the party store and buy some chips and pop and walk back, and the zombie hadn't moved 5 feet.
Okay, Shaun of the Dead.
It's like, what's the problem?
But he's not going to quit. He's going to follow you to the store.
That's true. But I can always figure out something because I'm so much faster than them. That's why they increase the speed of the zombies. The problem is not increasing the speed of the zombie, making it so the zombies are so fast you'll never get away. So there's really no reason to run or be frightened. It's like, okay, a nuclear bomb's coming. You're going to get up and run where?
Right.
Where you running to?
I think that's where that's a good point to consider. When did writing, as we view it as being superb, jump the shark? And it's like, when you speed up zombies.
We traded.
When you speeded up zombies.
It jumped the shark when Henry Winkler jumped the shark. Because everything else is so boring, they got to throw something ludicrous in there so that you can go, woo.
We traded genuine kind of suspense and a little bit of fear for an adrenaline rush. We went from I'm going to build some tension, I'm going to scare you with what you don't see, to I got to give you this full-on spectacle, everything's on 10, and it's coming right at you.
Well,
what's the big TV show about zombies that's on?
Walking Dead.
Walking
now
Dead.
The spinoffs.
Are they quick zombies?
No, but
Okay.
they did some things with them to make them somewhat interesting. But in the end, it's like Daystrom said. In the end, this is the natural progression of the characters. You learn to deal with them.
You lose fear. We said this earlier. There's only so much emotional capital. You can only be afraid of something for so long.
Yeah.
Because if you take zombies as the starting point for science fiction or science fantasy or whatever, they're just like the real Indian culture. What I mean, zombies are not Indians, obviously, but you can only be afraid of the unknown for so long, wherein you start to figure out its pattern. You start dealing with it as just part of nature. You got to deal with it. They're zombies. You got to deal with it.
Yeah.
How do I deal with it?
Yeah.
It's like if you live in the outback, you got to deal with wild animals,
Spiders, snakes.
So you just learn how the crocodile gun did. Because if you don't, they're going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
There comes a point where you come to grip with this is reality.
Acceptance and adaptation.
That's one thing that killed me about the Walking Dead is they were always afraid all the time. I'm like, at some point,
as the show progresses, they kind of get over it.
Yeah, by season 6,
they get over it. Yeah.
By season 2, you should have been. Hold on. We need to figure out what we can do to get around this. That's what you have in this episode of Star Trek. Okay, this thing is unbelievably fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievably dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
but we still have to learn to deal with it.
Because we want something.
And Starfleet will not be denied.
Well,
no, Starfleet
will not be denied.
The
Federation
will not be denied. They want that Pergium because so many planets
depend on it.
Mm-hmm. And if I got to roll over you, Mrs. Horta, to get it,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to roll over you.
Mm.
Yeah. So the Enterprise arrives, and as Jake said, the administrator makes his problem Kirk's problem. Well, somebody had probably already made it Kirk's problem before off camera. But
we didn't get that. We didn't get to listen to that call.
Get
over there, boy, and get it done. It's a lot like a call he got with the trouble with tribbles.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we need this quadrillium grain.
Yeah.
We needed to get to over here.
Quadricritically.
Yeah. However you
say it 3 times fast.
Quadricritically.
Yeah, that too.
We need this grain to get over to planet X because they're starving,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the only thing to fix it. And Kirk, you got to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your problem.
Mm-hmm.
He got that call about the energy source.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get to this planet, and you got to make it happen.
Right.
I was trying to develop this sort of theorem based off the Daystrom second ship theory. And could you take a episode like this where Enterprise is the first ship on scene, and could you make it a second? Could you make it? Could you rewrite this episode that a starship came first before the Enterprise and somehow failed? Could you make this a second ship? Because I'm starting to think when I look at these primary episodes where the Enterprise is the first ship that came on, could you turn that into a second ship episode? Is there enough? Is there enough plot? Is there enough threat? Is there enough complexity to it? Because what I would see is a first ship that got there, maybe they lose a dozen guys, but I don't see how the ship itself is destroyed.
This episode is not that. They've made it cut and dry. There's a resource that must be preserved. There's a threat. They've been sent to eliminate the threat. And there's really no way.
You could write it.
There's no way for a ship to fail in the sense that Jake's talking about.
No, there is. So if you beamed down on the planet, you saw the nodule, you took the nodule up, and under X-ray or whatever you did to try
you birthed the Horta.
You birthed the Horta on a ship. You've got a problem.
Yeah.
Because your phasers won't stop it, and it'll go right through the ship's hull if it starts to use its energy.
Yeah, you create an alien scenario,
Absolutely.
a Ridley Scott scenario.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could try to get there.
So
Yeah.
you'd find the first ship kind of floating in orbit
With a big hole in
big
it.
holes in it,
No.
Swiss cheesed.
No, the Horta makes a beeline for the reactor core because it's the biggest power source.
Yeah,
Takes a bite out of the lithium and it blows up.
yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
See, I liked applying the Daystrom theory to the first ship episodes.
But
Because wouldn't it be a little bit more? There'd be a little bit more oomph to it. You'd have to kind of figure out what happened.
yeah, the problem with that on the Horta scenario,
I don't know if I could buy it. It's a little bit of a stretch.
It could work, but the problem is the mother would be probably so incensed. So one thing that happened in this episode, and I don't know if we want to jump to it real quick or take our time getting to it, is the loss of life on both sides.
Right.
And it's quickly overlooked for the better outcome. The better outcome for the humans is money.
Mm-hmm.
The better outcome is from the
Well, it's not.
mother Horta is the remaining children.
Well, no. To you're kind of overshadowing the point you made earlier. It's not money. Yeah, for the miners directly in the immediate profit for the miners, yes. But in the big
Right.
picture, as you brought out, this power source is needed to maintain thousands of lives.
So let's look at the three categories we have, or four. The Enterprise, its goals, Kirk's captaincy, because if he fails, he's going to have problems. The Starfleet's requirement because of the thousands of
Citizens, Federation citizens
and planets that need this energy
who
source.
like light.
Who the Federation has put into a sort of energy welfare system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we're providing you energy, and now all of a sudden we're running out, and we're
this
not
is
going to
the-
be as popular with these.
This is the car.
Let's avoid that.
Let's-
So you have Kirk's problem, you have the Starfleet's problem, which becomes Kirk's problem because his captaincy is tied up of him being able to solve problems, and the problem is thousands of planets that need this fuel source. You have the miners' problem of loss of life and loss of revenue,
Yes.
and you have the hoarder's problem of
Loss of life.
her society.
Yes.
So you have
Per species.
her species.
Yeah, massive loss of life.
So you have four different needs
Mhm.
that need to be met to solve this problem. The second ship scenario sort of you have too much of a fallout, because if one of those things are too egregiously done,
It derails the ultimate purpose of the
it
episode.
derails somebody coming in after and making peace.
Yes.
You get to a
Yes.
point where too much has been done
Yes.
for me to agree that you will bring peace.
Yes. Yeah. Your second ship scenario, I agree with him. Your second ship scenario guarantees the extinction of the Horta.
Mm-hmm.
When ship number 2 comes on the scene, it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Horta.
It's a wrap.
Well, the extinction of the Horta, as well as because the Horta could have done more damage.
True.
Horta could, as you said, could have went straight for the reactor.
Well, it did, but
No, it went to the cooling unit for the reactor. It didn't go straight for the reactor. So you don't know what type of.
She was trying to force them out.
Yes.
she was
She was
using
trying to kill them.
she was using intelligence.
Right.
Because if she wanted to kill them,
Oh yeah, as fast as it went through
Yeah.
the dirt,
Yeah.
you could have swept around and wiped them all out in
Yeah.
a
Well,
matter of a couple of days.
It probably could have just undermined the foundation in certain areas and collapsed the facility.
Yeah.
You know, if it had enough intelligence to do that. And it did. You know, it was using intelligence
Well,
so,
it did, because it went and got one piece of
equipment.
equipment
It-
that shut down the whole, not shut down the reactor.
well,
but
it would force an evacuation,
It
and
would
that
force
she
an
just wanted
evacuation.
them out of there.
Yeah, yeah. So she was definitely exercising intelligence.
so there's multiple ways you could have wrote it. You could have wrote it where the first ship took a nodule and then they died because the baby hoarder hatched. But then you have the potential of other hoarders being hatched, which muddies the water.
Night of the Living Horta.
Not a living hoarder, man.
Yeah, but I like that in the first. What you talked about is that they would force it to hatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, do something, make a mistake and force
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Premature birth.
And lose a whole starship,
Yeah.
which I see that as a possibility. Hey, Kirk, we sent a starship over there to fix this problem, and we lost contact with it.
But at that point,
But they would know off the rip. The engineer would know, hey, they took a nodule back, and then next thing we know, we lost contact with them.
mm-hmm.
And that would have given you first a clue that the nodule is an egg.
which they give you a pretty good foreshadow on the nodules. Because getting back into the episode, Kirk and Spock are in the administrator's office. He's telling them what's going on, and Spock immediately zeroes in on the nodule, like, what is this? This is unique. And he's like, oh, yeah, silicone nodules. There's thousands of them down there. We don't know what they are.
Nothing is made by nature that is perfectly round and smooth,
Right.
that does not have an animal aspect to it.
It's true.
Because pearls start as a grain of sand, which is not smooth, and it becomes a pearl because a creature continually moves it till it builds up and it becomes perfectly cylindrical. So those nodules, you say you found these perfectly round nodules just in the ground? No.
Well, to your point, though, his attitude towards it was round silicone nodule, no profit margin.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in this.
See,
Yeah.
It's short-sighted.
It is.
No.
short-sighted.
Yeah. Well, no, not for somebody who is just focused on revenue.
Yeah.
Doing
Right.
his job.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. I mean, in that's perfect way. There was no market value for these, so therefore they're not important.
Right. And the fact that there's thousands of them laying around and we're crushing.
Oh my God! Think about it. Think about writing a story like this, that these nodules are being shipped out to other planets
As novelty items.
items, and the hoarder breathes. The hoarder hatches on some other world, and then it's burning through worlds. Because
People are using them in like a crown, and the Horta hatches and just goes right through them.
Well, but no.
Oh my God!
No, as we'll get to later, the nature of the hoarder might have averted a total disaster, but
Who knows? I mean, the primitive baby Horta might be like vicious.
Babies don't care, man.
They might have freaked
And the
out.
mother is the reason she's there is to indoctrinate them, make them peaceful.
Human babies don't care. They want what they want when they want it. And the only reason, one comic said, the only reason they're cute and fuzzy, they look cute and lovable is because God made them that way so we don't kill them.
YouTube's going to get you for that.
It was actually a comic that made this statement. The babies, God made them to look lovable.
So we would have mercy upon them
So we would have mercy
for their
upon
evil
them.
little selves.
Yeah, because they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care. They're hungry. They need a diaper change. They don't care. They yell until you do it.
True.
Well, I like that they told McCoy, come take a look, and he comes back and he goes, there's some bone fragments, some teeth.
This guy's gone.
That's his autopsy report. Couple teeth and some bone fragments.
Chemical corrosion.
Yeah, he said this wasn't fire, dude. This was chemical.
Somebody dipped him in a vat of
And he
acid.
says, well, is that it's strong? It's probably the strongest stuff that I've ever seen.
And
You know what? You had a hoarder, you could launch it at an enemy ship and let it land on him and just burn a hole through the ship.
and Spock says, and Kirk says, hey, what other life have we scanned? And Spock says, there is no other life that our scanners picked up but human life. And then they cut to the front door of the reactor room and number 52 standing there. And he too does not get a shot off.
Nope.
Paralyzed with fear from the lightning fast hoarder.
Lightning fast.
Yeah.
The hoarder went right through the door.
When we I got to remember when we get to the red shirt one, and there was something that I noticed. I'll bring it up when we get there.
All right.
I always wondered why the hoarder jumped up to go through the door. Why the hole was round in the door other than from the ground level.
They showed the Horta coming through the wall.
They contradict it later when they show it come through the wall. They don't show it tunneling like that. But yeah, you're left with the impression that it rises up like it does to attack people, lands on what it wants to burn, and so that whatever allows it to burn is on the bottom.
Yeah, you know what I think though? I mean, this is when we see the Horta coming through the wall, and it's and what I sensed was this: the Horta moves flat, and the corrosive generates so much heat that there's almost a cone of heat in front of it.
That could
and
be.
It moves that cone forward.
That could be.
It doesn't like rear up and like belly flop its way through the.
That's
Yeah.
the way it sure looked.
It looks
Yeah,
that
yeah.
way. It looks that way. Especially when it attacks. It's definitely rearing up to attack.
But that's what I'm saying. When they go through the door and they got the door and it's like a foot or so off the ground and it's perfect cylindrical hole.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it shouldn't be. It should be more like an H with the flat at the bottom of the door should be going.
Half circle at the bottom of the door.
Yes. That's what I would have added to it. No, make it a half circle.
So the first demonstration of intelligence. The Horta takes out the guard, burns through the door, and steals the cooling pump.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't destroy it, which seems to me that threw me a little bit because it's like, well, its goal is to force them off the planet. If you destroy the pump, they have no recourse.
Its goal is to negotiate.
I think, when we learn later on, the Horta was fine of them being on levels 1 through 22.
Right.
Yeah.
It just didn't want them on 23.
No, it
Where the eggs
didn't
were.
want. Well, what happened is, we get to it later on in the episode. So let's just keep going. The Horta steals the pump.
Yes. Steals the pump.
Mm-hmm.
Steals the pump, not destroy the pump. If you
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. It would have been expedient for it to destroy the pump.
if its goal was to just force them off the planet,
Yes.
stealing the pump leaves the potential of returning it.
Yes.
So that means it leaves the potential of a concord, an agreement of some kind,
And demonstrates great intelligence.
and demonstrate. Well, even knowing that that was needed, that was the area, demonstrates great intelligence.
Yeah.
So you can't look past these clues that you're dealing with something intelligent.
It's strange, though, because when you kind of run the logic, the Horta had to then know that there would have been a much higher presence of humans in the caverns searching for it. So was this like a bait to kind of get the last of the aggressive ones taken care of, and then the other ones would sort of leave? Because you had to know they'd come looking for it.
If you want to go down that line of logic, I think it'd be more like a move of it's aware of a greater human presence. It knows they have the potential to hurt it, find it, corner it. So it makes a move.
I don't think they know. It knows it at that point.
Well, the Starfleet personnel haven't beamed down yet, but the miners are now actively down there with phasers, where as before was picking off a few maintenance crew. Now they're actively down there with phasers, standing guard, looking for it, so on and so forth. To Jake's point, it makes a move to try to force them out altogether instead of flooding the caverns with more people.
But like I said, you could simply just destroy it.
Yeah.
Or wear it like a little necklace so that people wouldn't shoot at you. I've got the circulating pump. Can't shoot me.
So now
It would have been weird if it had hands.
Yeah.
this is a problem you get into with writing. And I don't want to poo-poo Gene L. Kuhn because he's one of the greatest science fiction writers that we know to date. But
At least for TV.
at least for TV. But you get into these problems because as we're trying to pick it apart, you can see sort of a logical flaw.
Yeah, not destroying the pump is weird.
Well, remember, I think our definition of good writing is in that it covers all avenues. What it does is that the avenue it covers, you accept and you move forward, but it does provide sized streets to have logical, discussions about some alternatives. I mean, that's what really good writing is that,
Yeah.
I mean, if you can take so many good stories and figure out, well, maybe they could have done this or the character could have done this, versus really bad stories, you don't even want to put the mental energy in to try to figure it out.
You're not going to fight over it.
Yeah, well,
Like,
yeah.
I hate this.
Yeah,
It's not worth it.
the point that we're even going down these side paths and discussing it is like, yeah, this was well done.
Yeah. Thought-provoking.
Because we didn't stand there and look and go, oh, that's garbage, and discard it.
It's thought-provoking.
It's thought-provoking. So the pump is taken. And did you guys note this? The great Scotty. The great Scotty. Scotty the Great. He that fixes all cannot fix it.
Scotty's digital. This is analog.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, listen.
No, this is a problem once again with writing science fiction. When you get to a level of technology that is almost magic, you shouldn't have a problem. Now,
Right,
any type of pump today,
Can
with
be
our level of technology,
can be built.
with our ability to mold metal and to cut metal, we can fabricate any type of pump within a reasonable amount of time.
That was one of two.
All we need is a spec.
That was one of two things I got hung up on in this scene. Had that same thought. The Enterprise is a naval vessel. Naval vessels carry the ability to fabricate just about anything on the ship that can possibly break.
Yep. Whether it's solid block metal or not.
The other thing is we know there's a thing called a replicator. Now, what really made me stop and think about it is watching this episode. In the show, the only thing in the original series, they figure it out later that's a bigger deal than this, but in the original series, the replicator is only used to make food.
Which is far more
Which
advanced.
is nuts.
Which is far more advanced than standard equipment.
Yes.
Because your body doesn't need to break down standard equipment.
See, I kind of lived with it because what I thought of, like if I was going to go deeper, if you called Scotty and they're like, we have a whatever it was, a
PXC number 10 pump.
Number 10, a reactor.
A reactor pump, yeah.
And what he would say is that I can rig something up, but that PXC 20 reactor uses tritium gas in the cooling, and our pumps deteriorate in that gas after, like, we have a pump, I can send it down there, but after 48, it's going to last about 48 hours, and we're going to have to replace it again, and during that downtime, that's when she's going to go critical, Captain.
That's more lines, that's more time.
Yeah,
in the episode.
Remember 50 minutes.
If we were talking about a book, all that can be there. But when you're talking about a TV show, you have a limited amount of time, a limited amount of lines people can say, because it takes time to say it.
Yeah.
Then that information's got to be conferred. Now, if this was true Star Trek, they should have been able to generate whatever it is, because the freaking replicators can make just about anything.
But they never. Even in the later series, they never really get to the point where they figured that out. They made this thing.
That's the problem.
They made this thing that should be able to do anything.
That's the problem with writing science fiction stories. It's like writing magic.
Well, isn't it like the Terminator, though? I mean,
you figure it out.
It can only work with organic matter.
Yeah.
The replicator can only use organic, not inorganic matter.
Yeah, but in organic matter, you still have zinc, you still have different trace elements of regular metals in it.
Easier to haul a big box of supplements.
Heck, you got a transporter that can break down a human body and reconstitute it.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me we don't have the matrix for this item? Beam up whatever the program is.
Okay, well,
whatever the design is.
I'll really ruin your day.
3D printer.
Yeah.
You couldn't scan and just find the pump and beam it up?
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. Find this metal.
Star Trek sensors.
But see the pump is a trope.
It is a trope.
It is.
It's a plot device.
It's a plot device to give us a countdown.
Yes. That's exactly what
it
is.
And Kirk even says it, because we have a choice. We can asphyxiate by turning it off.
Yeah.
Or we can die from the
radiation
explosion.
Poison.
And
the other choice is we can leave.
But
I'll lose my captaincy.
And even though we're picking at it and kind of poking holes in it, that in the writing is good because it puts you on a clock, and it explains why Kirk can't just beam down 400 guys, find the Hoarder, and kill it.
I thought 48 hours was.
It explains why it's now not practical to throw bodies at this thing until you bring it down.
What would you think if they said you have 4 hours?
4 hours?
Yeah.
I'd focus on evacuation for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Well, he did. He said evacuate everybody.
Well, Scotty originally, his jury rig bought them 48 hours.
Right.
And they were willing to continue with that. But then it breaks down and they got 10 hours. And they continue on 10 hours. If it jumps to, Captain, you got 4 hours and nobody can breathe down here, now I got to leave.
Yeah,
beat
you're right.
everybody up.
I got to make sure everybody gets out.
Yeah.
But we've jumped. Kirk brings in the men of the hour.
The bully boys.
Kirk brings in Lieutenant Commander Giotto
and the muscle.
And 6 hefty boys, 6 hefty men in red shirts to handle the business.
That had to be a moment of pride for you, Admiral.
I was happy.
I was happy.
That was a lot of red.
To enforce Starfleet edict on some unbeknown creature.
The Fragalia must flow.
Well, I don't know about you Starfleet guys. And I'm a captain. That's why I might go rogue like Tracy.
Your Federation loyalty cannot be in question. Hand me your agonizer. But brings down the Lieutenant Commander, and we find out through listening to as it continues, those 7 guys standing there is representative of a total of 100 crewmen.
Yeah, who's searching?
Beamed down.
25% of your crew.
Yeah, and they can't all be red shirts. I don't believe there's 20. I don't believe there's 100 red shirts out of a crew of 400. That's a lot of security for a ship that size. But probably a combination of Starfleet security and miners.
So this is off topic, off episode. How many red shirts do you think are on a Starfleet ship of 400 people? What percentage? A quarter?
If you use
10%?
If you use
40?
If you use Marines to sailors on a modern military vessel, 20% at the most. Probably not.
What type of modern military vessel you talking about? An aircraft carrier?
Carrier, yeah.
Carrier is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Carrier has drop planes,
much bigger crew. Yeah.
Carrier has drop planes and all that other stuff. So,
probably 5 to 10% at the most.
So you either 40 guys or 20 guys.
Yeah.
For 400.
Yeah. I don't think you'd have that many security personnel on board. I don't think so.
All right, that was off topic, but nonetheless.
Now,
so
wait. Somebody knows. So put it in the comments. What is the standard security complement of a Constitution class starship circa TOS?
Ain't nobody knows.
Because I know you know. I believe in you.
I don't believe in
I believe in you. You know.
I don't believe in them.
They know.
They don't.
You have to watch the comments and they will answer you.
I don't believe it.
If you ask it, they will answer.
Okay.
Or you can look it up yourself.
I don't think anybody's ever thought of it.
They know. It's out there somewhere.
Regarding the U.S. Navy, there are no more Marine detachments, a.k.a. Mardettes, on U.S. Navy ships. The last Mardette folded in 1998, but they were being phased out as early as 1993. That doesn't sound right.
They switched them to Navy security forces now.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. I don't know if I believe that. Can't believe everything on Google.
No, you can't.
The internet is your friend. Listen to the internet.
Internet lies to you.
Obey the algorithm. if it leads you to MOT. So
leads you to MOT.
That's
self-serving.
It is.
Click like and subscribe.
We're invincible. Look what we've done. Your mighty starships.
So Kirk gives the security forces their orders, tells them to fan out, find this thing, and waste it. Tells them to be careful.
Doesn't Spock first tell him it was seen in this area? Here's where you're going to map it.
Yeah.
If you can surround and capture it, and then Kirk's like, "Oh, hold on here."
That's after number. That's a little bit later.
Okay.
It's a little bit later.
Yeah, we have to have her.
Spock does examine the mind map and where the sightings are. Kirk uses that to deploy the security teams, and his orders are to kill it.
Yeah.
And he tells them, "Hey, be careful. This thing's dangerous." Scotty rigs up the pump, gives him 48 hours. But then Daystrom's point about you only got so much time in an episode, Spock, McCoy, and Kirk are postulating on what this thing might be because they can't sense it as a life form. Spock throws out the possibility of non-carbon life form, silicone-based.
Right.
Kirk immediately runs down like a full hypothesis of what silicone-based life might look like. You know, he just kind of lays it out. It's not the kind of supposition we usually get. We always talk about how in the show we kind of find out as the crew finds out.
Right.
But in this instance, Kirk does do a bit of, you know, you got that moment where they kind of stop for a minute and Kirk lays out, this is what it could be, this is how it can work.
Oh, he says, I've heard of it.
Yeah, he's heard of the theory of it.
Yeah, I heard of the theory. Yeah.
But the theory, like, perfectly fits the horror.
But you know what that goes back to? It's that academic Kirk
Yeah. Yeah,
that we heard about.
Kirk the scholar.
Yeah.
Kirk, the guy that studies.
Yeah.
Yep.
McCoy thinks he's crazy, but
So the security team fans out. I'll give them credit. They didn't split up immediately, but young crewman Red, they don't give you his name. He gets caught out there by himself. And 53.
And this is what I noted. Did you notice that he saved his phaser?
Yep.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He kept his weapon in the fight.
Yep.
And that's an old military training thing. Like when they would train us.
He picked it up.
When they train us, if we were gonna, if we were walking and a nuclear bomb went off, what they train you is to turn around, put your weapon between your feet, and fall on top of your weapon. So you were vaporized, but you saved that M16 for the next guy to pick up. So that was very military.
That's awfully nice of you.
Yeah, yeah. His phaser was pristine,
As they're picking your bone fragments out of the concrete.
fully charged,
Yeah, unfired.
unfired.
I was mad. I wanted him to get a shot off. I figured he deserved that.
Yeah, you would think.
Just one shot.
Yeah.
One ineffective
I
shot.
mean, he's a red shirt. He's
Yeah,
paid. This is his job. I
yeah.
get a minor that's like,
Yeah.
hey, I've never done this before. This freaks me out. But, is this the first Horta that a red shirt has seen? I mean, come on.
Guy serving on the Enterprise is seeing everything.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it is in the episode. It's the first.
I'm
Horta
using
that's
Horta
seen.
generally as
Yeah,
like an
yeah.
unknown,
Yeah.
scary creature.
Yeah,
It's
they've seen tons of them.
yeah.
Just something else to phaser to oblivion.
Yeah,
right.
start.
Now, what would have been
It's a
more,
bug hunt.
Would have been more closer to truth is he would have phasered it and saw it didn't do anything, and, he
And
was
then
like,
oh yeah, that's
I'm
that's
done
what
now.
I wanted.
My phaser did nothing when phasers generally make things disappear.
That's what I wanted. I wanted Zap.
Was
you
it
know.
Gaetano in Galileo 7 that was crawling away?
Yeah,
He wanted a Gaetano out of him.
yeah.
At least he stood his ground.
Yeah, I want him to get his shot off, and then okay, yeah, he's vaporized. but-
Yeah, yeah. And of course, Kirk and Spock are right around the corner.
Yep. And they come in, and this is when you get to what you were talking about. They find the phaser, they collect it, and then they gather the security force, and now there's 8 of them, which I think this is the largest showing of red shirts except for one other episode, I think. And I can't recall the name of the episode, but like there's one point where Scotty beams down with like 20 guys or something.
Wow.
But I'm going to do that episode next, I think. But anyhow.
They were standing there with their arms folded, and the Type 2 phaser was
tucked in. Yeah,
in.
That looked like Star Trek
Parade reds.
port arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're pointing at the guy standing to the
That's
left.
right.
Well, there was a lot of bad weapon handling. If you get into that, everybody was flagging everybody. Kirk had it pointed at Spock's ribs for the whole episode. And considering this is push button vaporization,
Very poor weapons management.
Yeah. And considering this is I pushed the button and you vanished. That's pretty bad. But yeah, there was no weapons handling thought of in these episodes. Phasers must be perfectly safe until you intend to fire.
It seems like let's keep on with the
Yeah.
episode because we've gone far afield already.
Yeah, we have. So this is where Spock tells them he can recalibrate their tricorders to track the creature, and they actually be able to triangulate and find it.
And then they tuned the Type 2s to silicone.
Yep, they tune the Type 2s to silicone.
I never knew that. Did you know you could tune a phaser?
Yes, they've done that. They've done that several times.
Wow.
Phasers are almost too adjustable. Like in one episode, a guy turns one into a bomb. He sets it to overload. Yeah. So phasers are flexible.
And Sulu adjusts one to heat rocks with.
Yeah.
When the planet was freezing. Yeah.
I don't know why this jumped in my head. I never thought about it before, but like if the manufacturer still exists, it's like, are phasers made by like Glock or SIG? You know, I don't know. Never mind.
Starfleet brand.
No, like the industrial complex still exists. Somebody's making phasers. Phasers are made by the government.
Yeah, right. Starfleet. They're not letting anybody else have that tag.
No, they're made by Colt.
Everything is owned by the government.
Daniel Defense. But so Spock, having adjusted and calibrated their tricorders and feeling confident they can find the creature, Spock says, see if you can surround it and capture it. Even though he doesn't really have a way of doing it. He can't tell them how to do it, but he tells them to do it.
Well, he monologues a little bit with Kirk after the killing, and he's like, listen, if this is a
one of a
sentient creature, killing it is probably not the right thing. And Kirk was like, it's a murderer.
Yeah, Kirk's like, it's killed people.
Kill people.
It's going down.
Down.
The Pergium must flow.
And the Fragile must flow. The Fragile must flow.
Yeah. All right.
Now, to your point, this is where Spock confirms, you're right, the Fragile must flow.
That's right.
He's with the program.
Right.
He's not protesting. He says, but it's a shame to kill it. But the Fragile must flow, so we will kill it. But it's a shame.
It's a shame.
That's all Spock is saying. That's all Spock is saying.
What Spock is saying is it's pathetic that we have the ability to fly through space, going from planet to planet, and we can't capture one stinking monster.
Preserve the monster for science.
A monster that can't fly through space.
Yeah.
We can't capture it.
Yeah.
We got to kill it.
Yeah. I know how.
I think Spock says that somewhere else, that everywhere humans go, that you guys always find yourselves in situations
where you must destroy something.
You must destroy something.
Mm-hmm. He does.
Because you don't want to take the time it takes to figure out how to.
I know how to catch the hoarder.
How to catch it.
Order a meat lover's pizza, it'll show up. Because that's what it looks like to me. But Kirk sharply rebukes Spock in front of the team and says, no, you will kill it. You will absolutely kill it.
It's funny how during the course of the episode, the two positions get juxtaposed.
There is.
Kirk turns and agrees with Spock, and Spock's agreeing with Kirk.
Yes.
Because Kirk's life is in jeopardy.
Right. Well, and it's really the meat of the episode that takes them a little while to get there. It's what takes this episode beyond like a Monster of the Week episode. They get into, as Daystrom laid out earlier, they get into what is driving the parties. They get into what has led to this violence. Meaning that you get to a point where now you have an understanding. The Horde is just not a mindless creature that's killing people. It's not, oh, you broke open the crypt and the beasties coming for you. There's a reason for it. And there's a misunderstanding.
Well, it's no longer an animal.
Right. It's a thing. It's a being.
Right.
You know, it's a thinking being, and it's doing something for a reason.
Did you catch that part where Kirk was like, "Oh, listen, Spock, I need you to go help Scotty out"?
Yeah. Kirk's trying to get Spock out of harm's way.
Yeah. And Spock's like, "What are you talking about?"
My first thought was that it was a rebuke, and Kirk was kind of like, your head's not in the game. I'm sending you to the bench.
And I think he took it that way.
Yes.
And said, I have an opportunity here to catch Spock a little bit off balance and just say, and then maybe Spock would accept it as that rebuke and just say, okay, you know, I need a little time out here. I'll go help Scotty with his pump. Yeah. But you know, you don't fool the logic master. He's just like, Spock. But you know, I thought the one thing he did say, he was like, I'm not needed there because Scotty's knowledge of nuclear reactors far exceeds mine. And I'm like, I don't believe that. I think Spock.
BSing.
Yeah.
Spock. That was Spock's way of saying, now you know you're full of it.
Mm-hmm.
Spock's way of saying, Scotty doesn't need me for anything.
Right.
And they'd already been notified that the pump was shot anyway, so what was he going to do?
Well, to Kirk's argument, maybe if Spock would have gone, the damn pump wouldn't have copped out after 10.
Nah, they knew. They knew the pump was done.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's Kirk's attempt to get Spock out of harm's way because he doesn't want his friend to be in danger. And Kirk's pragmatically like, we're the first and second officers on the ship. We're the number one and number two guy on the ship. We both can't go down.
Right.
And he's right.
Yeah, so Kirk should have never beamed down.
Well, we've said that 100 times. That's the fatal logic flaw in all the episodes.
I could have had that conversation with Joe Bob from
yeah.
That has to be the biggest reason why Star Trek and the Federation has changed, because I think that in that other franchise, well, it's the same franchise, but the other generation of Star Trek, that the captain could stay behind because if the away team failed, he didn't lose his captaincy. But in the OG, the reason you were down there is because
you had to make sure things
you were going to be sitting on the bridge, and all of a sudden they blow it, and then you're like, "Well, maybe I could have done something, but now I'm just out of a command."
In real life, Lieutenant Commander Giotto would have been in charge of the mission. He'd have beamed down with his guys and told Kirk what was happening. Now, would you have got smoked? Would you have gotten the same outcome? No. But that's what they would have done.
You needed Count Spocula.
You needed Count Spocula. You needed somebody that could communicate, that could reach out to people, touch people. So Kirk and Spock begin moving down the tunnel. Spock's now getting readings tracking the Silicone Beastie, our highly intelligent, sophisticated Silicone Beastie.
That's right.
With a plan. And of course, there's a split in the tunnel, and they do what you should never do in real life. They split up.
Well, Spock says that, and then Kirk gives him this sort of like,
there's two of us.
There's two of us. There's two tunnels.
Which is kind of funny.
I've got tidal power. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, well,
that's the Matrix. I see two ships. I see two objectives. Two objectives.
Well, Kirk having just laid out like perfect logic on why both of them shouldn't be down there in the first place, becomes very cavalier and goes, two tunnels, two of us, see you on the other side.
I got a 20,000% chance of not dying here.
It's like, vital personnel, shouldn't we, the two of us together,
the needs of the plot.
The two of us together nicked it earlier. Maybe we should stick together. No? Oh, okay. And
needs of the plot.
I found it funny that Spock, as Kirk goes sauntering down the tunnel, Spock kind of standing back at the other end of the tunnel for a minute like,
yes, he does.
Like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, he does.
This is a bad idea.
He's waiting for that human to turn around.
Yeah.
No, he's waiting for that call.
Mm-hmm.
He's waiting.
Help, Spock, help me.
And then if you didn't think the Hoarder was smart by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it knocks down the column.
So.
Well, when does it get hit? When did they hit it?
No, they show the Hoarder jump up and knock the column.
No. But isn't the Hoarder is wounded already?
They shot it. They shot it right after it killed crewman number 53.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it comes back out.
And they remember that a chunk of it came out.
Yeah, they blast the chunk
and
off.
It was still breathing.
Pulsating.
Yeah, my pepperoni looks like that coming out of the oven.
Pepperoni pizza was
my pepperoni
vibrating.
Still popping?
Yeah.
From the heat?
Yeah. Hot out the oven. Ready to go. Made me hungry. But so here's the thing. Did it trap Kirk because Kirk was in the egg chamber and it couldn't risk killing him? Or did it know that Kirk was the guy it needed to talk to?
See, what I thought was, in my primitive Horta experience, was it recognized him as the one that could hurt it.
Yeah, there was definitely, I got that out of it as well.
Yeah, and so I think it, by deduction, it was, I don't know who all these other guys running around are, because, from a Predator standpoint,
I've been taking care of them.
I've gotten taking care of everybody else, but this is Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kirk and Spock heard it, so it's treating them differently.
Right.
There's another aspect here that we haven't thought of. The Hoarder could have been coming close to the end of its life cycle.
Oh yeah.
Remember, it's been left as the last one.
The caretaker.
To caretake for the eggs for them to hatch and then for it to give basic teaching. So it could be that it was already the wound was pushing it beyond its limit.
Could be. Yeah,
It was at the end of its life cycle. So it's like, hold on. Let me talk to this dude.
Yeah.
Because
I think that's it.
I've got a greater mission.
Yeah.
And my greater mission is the nodules, the eggs.
Yep.
Yes.
So let me see if I can get we can get a conversation going.
Yes.
Instead of fighting this dude, because if I die, my whole race dies.
There's a great movie called Kelly's Heroes with
Yes.
Clint Eastwood
Yes.
and Don Rickles.
Love that movie.
And at the end, they're trying to get this German gold out of this bank, and there's a crazy Panzer commander tiger tank sitting in the middle of the square, and was it Donald Sutherland? He goes, "That guy is a certified maniac if he's still hanging around here after what we've done." But Rickles was like injured or something, and Clint Eastwood's there, and he's like, "Listen, go make a deal." And he goes, "What do you mean a deal? A deal. Go make a deal."
Yeah.
So that's the Horda. The Horda is like, "I'm on my way out. I better go make a deal."
So yeah, the Horda switches tactics,
Right?
and instead of the burn and run, causes a cave-in, traps Kirk in the chamber, the egg chamber, corners him, and then Kirk's like, hey, type 2.
Right. As soon as he lifts the phaser up, the Horda backs up.
I can hurt
when
you.
he drops the phaser, the Horda
Horda
moves
moves
a little
in.
closer. Not moving. Because as fast as a Horda can move,
It could have rushed
the
him.
Horda could have just rushed him and he would have been done anyway.
Right.
But it simply kind of holds him in place and maneuvers.
But now I've got hundreds of people down here,
Yeah,
and I need to make a deal.
right.
Well,
And I'm hurt.
yeah,
and I'm hurt.
because the miners now have basically become the pitchforks and the
The lynch
Yeah,
mob.
the lynch
Yeah,
mob.
yeah,
They're the lynch mob.
Yeah, they're out to kill Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That's without a
Yeah.
doubt.
That's what
Yeah.
it is. They're to Frankenstein.
And Kirk begins to reason out, okay, you clearly don't want to kill me because you could, but you don't let me go near the nodules. Okay.
Or escape.
Or
'Cause When he
escape.
tried to slip out, the Horda
Yeah.
blocks his way.
Right. And Spock's like, Captain, I'm tracking the Horda near your position. And Kirk's like, yeah, about 10 feet away from me. And Spock's like,
kill it.
Kirk's like, kill it.
Oh, Spock is just he is beside himself.
Yeah, it's a total flip now.
Yeah.
Now, we can capture it, but my buddy
Yeah.
is in danger.
My friend.
Kill it.
Kill it.
Kill it,
Spock
Captain.
said. He's like, it's 10 feet away from me. Kill it.
Kill it. Kill it, Jim. Spock got a little emotional.
Yeah, he did.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Spock got a little emotional. It's funny how many. It's funny
There
how
goes
many.
my bread and butter.
It's funny how many
Bugs Bunny.
excuses.
Nature boy.
It's funny how many excuses they find to let Leonard Nimoy be emotional,
Oh,
playing an emotionless character.
he gets his chance.
Yeah, he goes meta this time.
Yeah, he does.
So Spock reaches the cavern, comes in ready to do it.
He's rocking it.
And the Horda turns, and Jim's like, wait, don't shoot. And Spock's like, what? No, I got to kill it. And Jim's like, no.
What I like is Kirk walks over and sits on a rock.
Yeah, he sits
And
down.
he starts to talk to the Horda. He's like, no, what's going on here?
Yeah.
He's still got the phaser in his hand, but he sits down on a rock and he's like, well,
What are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Because you could wipe me out in an instant and I can do a little bit more damage to you.
Right.
But, all my boys are not going to stop.
Right,
You
right.
kill me, you're going to have 100. You already got 100 guys down there with phasers.
We eventually win. And the Horda seems to know that. So then we get the return of Count Spocula.
Count
Dun,
Spocula.
dun, dun.
I love that Count Spocula, man.
I need him in a cape. I need the cape. I need him to say, look into my eyes.
Yeah. Count Spocula.
The first mind meld in Star Trek is in the episode Dagger of the Mind,
Dagger of the Mind.
which is season 1, episode 9. In this episode, Leonard Nimoy creates the mind meld, which is a telepathic bond that allows two people to temporarily share thoughts. So this was not the first.
Is the second, apparently.
Yeah.
Or maybe the second.
What's beautiful, Gene Alcoon brought it in.
The term mind meld was first appeared in the Spectre of the Gun in 1966.
Yeah. So this time we have more.
How many times is my mail saved a day?
Every
Time it's used, my mail saved.
7, 8 at least.
Yep.
At least.
Yep. Got to have a Vulcan on your ship.
And another episode.
Just not a Vulcan female. She'll mess up everything. 'Cause nobody will do any work.
Okay.
They'll be so busy running after her.
I concede the point. I can't argue with that.
And
so
that's not sexist. That's just protection of the rest of the crew.
You are great. I am great.
so Spock comes in. Kirk explains to Spock that there appears to be some negotiations attempts going on. And doesn't Kirk kind of look at Spock like, can you do the thing?
Yeah, he asked him.
He's actually like, hey, can you?
Yeah, we need you to get in touch with it mentally.
Yeah.
Figure out what's going on because we have a communication problem.
Yeah. And Spock approaches it, but this is one of the few times where it's proven he doesn't have to touch you.
Well, he does it. He does it in one of the episodes where he does it through a wall.
Through the wall, yeah. But this is an episode where it's like, yes, he can do
He
it.
don't have to see you.
I think
You don't
from a
have to touch
distance he can project, but to
Yeah.
receive he has to touch.
He has to get close. At least be close.
Did the hoarder leave a communication before he touched it or after?
He didn't really start interpreting the
He just yelled,
hoarders.
"Bang!"
Yeah.
He was getting the hoarder's feelings at range, but he didn't start really expressing the hoarder's speech until he kneeled down and touched it.
Putting his finger on your pizza, man.
That's all right, man. Let's share a slice.
Because I think he's got to touch you for it to be a two-way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
He can receive or he can send from a distance, but that sending is just commands. That's where people get to stare.
Yeah.
Well, you have a problem with that where, no, he does it. He does touch McCoy in
Ooh,
the movies.
Yes, he violates McCoy frequently. As
Yes,
discussed here many times.
Don't you think you would? Don't you think you'd have that conversation with Spock?
Oh, don't touch me, Spock.
Yeah, like Spock, don't do that to me.
Yeah.
Like, don't.
Yeah, you're that's
It's
my
like
personal space.
It's like K in
Yeah.
in Men in Black. Did you flashy me? Did
you flashy thing me?
Yeah.
You flashy thing me?
Yeah, you might have that conversation with Spock's a Vulcan, and the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. So I will violate your rights for the best of everybody else. That's Vulcan logic. If I need to violate you to save the rest of the crew, you're getting violated.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder though, how much just random traffic is a Vulcan picking up at range from everybody around
Well, he's
them?
got enough mental fortitude. He's probably just blocking it out.
But what if he's a little unscrupulous and he's just taking in all your business?
They don't care. No emotional attachment. Your business.
Well,
is
wasn't that?
irrelevant.
Remember the
Sounds good.
Remember the absolutely horrible Final Frontier movie
Yes.
with Spock's brother?
Cybok.
Wasn't that what he was doing?
Yes.
Yes.
He was just going around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Manipulating.
Yes.
Putting all these visions in people's heads. So there's your crew.
Join me.
Yep.
Join me.
He was manipulating people mentally.
Mr. Shatner eventually apologized for that.
He did?
Yes, eventually. He took responsibility for that travesty.
That's the great William Shatner.
Yes, everybody makes a mistake.
Yeah.
We forgive
At
him.
least he owned up to it.
Yes. So we get to the meat of it, gentlemen. After a merry little monster chase with a few clues of something greater, Spock mind melds with the Horta, and we find out that she is the caretaker, the mother,
The mother of her race.
and that she's terrified that her race will end because if she
You
dies,
dirty, good for nothing Starfleet humans.
Federation human.
She is
Same thing.
she is the honored matre.
Yeah. She's afraid that her thousands and thousands of young will be crushed, that she is dying, that the end is coming.
Well, initially she's mad
Yes.
by all those that have already been
Killed.
slain.
Thousands.
She went McCoy in City on the Edge of Forever. Murderers, assassins.
Yes.
Yep.
Murderers, assassins.
Assassins.
So, Spock mind melds, and Leonard Nimoy gets to be really meta. There's crying, there's screaming, there's expressions of pain and suffering, there's agony, there's angst,
When you were a kid,
there's fear.
what do you remember how you felt?
it's a juxtaposition. So initially, you're upset at the death of humans,
Right.
and you're on the human side until you find out that the humans have slain thousands.
Well,
my question is, did you like it when Spock became emotional? Did you like that as a kid? Like, I'll give you an example. What's the Pomfar episode?
Amok time.
Amok time. When he turns Kirk around and he's like, Jim, and he's got that big smile. Like, that made me feel as a kid, that made me feel good.
Yes.
I remember the Horta episode and when he would cry and kind of get all that stuff. It made me uncomfortable. I don't know why it did.
It made you realize, it's the juxtaposition that Daystrom's talking about. It made you realize that this wasn't so cut and dry, and the Horta's not the bad guy, and there's more going on here.
Absolutely.
It forces you to get another point of view and have some empathy
that you weren't expecting.
So it's not Nimoy's emotional performance. It was the moral compass.
Yes. Okay. Being realigned. The recognizing that the one you thought was a hero is a villain.
It's the strength of the performance and the writing. It's what you write off, because when we were talking about doing the episode, I think we all kind of remembered as, oh yeah, the monster episode, but it takes this from being just an episode about a random creature and running around in a mine to the morality of it. And the fact that this conflict is taking place because nobody understood the other.
You're on a world that this entity, we can't call it an animal because it's too logical and it's too reasoned. So it's no longer just a dog or a cat or a lion or a tiger. It can communicate. It's very logical and it's very reasoned. So you have come into a planet that this entity has lived on for thousands and thousands of years, and you have come and destroyed
part of a generation.
So the 50 deaths that you were holding, you were mad at initially, when you find out that the humans have killed thousands of its young. Right. Then you start to look at it from a different point of view. So you have a switch from who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. When Leonard Nimoy is going through his emotional trauma, it's not his trauma, it's the trauma of the Horta.
Right. Right.
And then they even they elevate it that the Horta begins to display empathy in telling them where the pump is.
Right.
Yes.
Because it didn't want to kill anybody.
Right.
Because it could have just killed the whole society.
Theoretically. Yeah. And to further the juxtaposition, this is the moment where the miners are now the lynch mob, and they brutally beat Lieutenant Commander Giotto and the two other security officers.
I'm going to tell you that I'm telling you, man, that shouldn't have gone unanswered.
No, it should not have.
Because when what's his name calls up at the end of the episode,
yeah,
there need to be some handcuffs on him or something. I mean,
I would think I don't know if all three of them would have walked away from.
I don't know if they would have.
No,
because
he would have been in prison.
Because the security officer on the far right, to Giotto's right,
a couple times he's on the ground.
They're nailing him in the head with a club after they take him down, and it's like,
that's a little aggressive.
Is that 54? What are we talking about here?
Because what was the name of the detachment commander?
Lieutenant Commander Giotto.
So Giotto, first of all, Lieutenant Commander Giotto is going to get a demotion back on ship. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing, he should have established a perimeter. He should have said, listen, take 10 steps back. I'm going to draw a line. Anybody comes over this, I'm going to stun you.
That is all true, but remember, we're talking about a TV show with a limited amount of runtime. Yeah. In reality, that's what would have been done, but you don't have time to do that in a 1 hour show. So you gotta chop it up. So they were all working together initially hunting the Horta. Two groups have now amalgamated into one.
Right.
And now while they're one faction of that group gets aggressive. When that happens, generally the smaller group loses out.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. Now, should somebody be in cuffs? Should that conversation have been said at the end of the show? Yes, but you have a 1 hour show. So
actually, come to think of it, Lieutenant Lieutenant Commander Giotto's probably the head of security on the whole ship.
Yep.
He's probably the guy.
They went through them like butter.
They did. They got jumped. They were too reluctant to work the phasers. But
Well, they were set on something else.
true. Now, the only reason I'm not greatly disturbed by it is that in the moments following, when the conversations take place and the explanations are given, Kirk's not aware of what has happened to his security team.
What doesn't Giotto say? He's pretty definitive. He said something like, the captain wants you to stay here, and nobody is going.
Yeah.
Well,
When they show up down there.
everybody goes.
Well, but Kirk's response. The explanations take place. Spock gets the Horda's point of view. You understand the whole story. Kirk's ready to make peace. He's already formulating a plan in his
Oh,
mind.
we forgot about McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Calls
this
for
is-
McCoy.
This is where McCoy comes in.
Oh,
Well,
does it?
McCoy gets into the mix kind of in this moment.
Okay.
At first, Kirk's like, help him. And as Daystrom remembered the quote, McCoy's like, I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer. But McCoy has a Bondo kit beamed down, essentially, and he
does the train.
he reads it.
He does the tricorder thing, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer."
I'm a doctor.
And McCoy,
Kirk like figure it out.
Yeah, Kirk says, "You're a doctor. Here's a patient.
Figure
it out."
Right. But when the mob shows up,
Well, Spock is mind melding.
yeah,
McCoy calls for the
Horde,
Bondo paste.
the Bondo kit. Yeah,
I
Concrete.
loved Sir William's choice with the physician at that point. And it was basically like, just do something.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It wasn't like it's not that he was dismissive
no,
of where McCoy wanted to go.
right,
Like McCoy was going to start monologuing and talking about, who knows what. And he's just like, just do something, just walk over there. Just begin.
Right.
There used to be a saying in the military for punishment. Like when you knew you were in trouble, like drop and give me 20, drop and give you 50. You knew when you were in trouble when they said, just begin.
just
Just begin.
Keep going until I
Yeah,
tell you to
until I
stop.
tell you to stop. And that's what I got from Kirk. I got that military being of just like, he's like, I don't know what to do in this. You know what? Just begin.
just be.
Just begin. Just do something.
And McCoy brings down the trusty Starfleet thermoconcrete kit that they build structures with,
Yeah.
and it really had me thinking of like when you Bondo a car. That's just what I was thinking about. But in the meanwhile, the mob shows up, and Kirk is not Giotto. They come running in the room, and Kirk says, "First man, take another step," and he's dead.
He does say
He
that.
says, "I'll kill
kill you."
the next man
Oh.
that comes across this line."
Yeah.
He said, "I'll kill the
Now,
next
that's in
man."
the
that comes-"
episode. With
He
Sergeant
had
too.
he had a phaser up and he had his Federation badge.
I will burn down whoever comes too close.
See this type 2? You want to feel like when it's set for silicone? You want to feel it?
I'll burn through 3 of you at one time.
He did say, I will
kill
you.
the next man that takes steps across that line.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all looking like, this violent mob that just clubbed 3 men to the ground.
Is this the Enterprise we were waiting for?
But
Yes, it is.
the villain and the monsters have changed.
Yes.
Oh
They
yeah.
have changed.
Yeah.
It's changed.
And who's the bigger murderer?
The humans are.
Yeah.
50 guys, 53 guys, 54 guys compared to thousands.
Thousands of eggs.
Mm.
Thousands. Defenseless children. Little pepperonis.
Waiting to be
Waiting to be
garbled,
born. Waiting to be
gobbled up.
born.
Yeah.
Go on my pizza.
Yeah. So that's the interesting thing about this. As you look at it, you have one set of perceptions, and I love the Star Trek episodes that do this to you.
Mm-hmm.
You have one perception, and by the end of the show, you have a completely different perception.
Right.
We get this in what's the one with the Romulan?
Balance of terror.
Balance of Terror. You're looking at it, when you come away, you're like, well, both of them are stuck in a situation that they really don't want to be in.
Right.
It's the juxtaposition. It's the changing of perception.
Right.
It makes this a good episode.
Yeah, and the message here, which is easy to miss when you're a young kid watching the cave monster fry people, that conflicts can be avoided if you understand the other person.
Well, it's interesting too because there's always room left in the writing
Yeah.
for Kirk to listen to Spock.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he initially is saying, "No, we need to kill this."
Right.
And I think Spock was like, "It's a shame to kill it," and he even says, "We're not on a zoological
Yeah, zoological mission.
a mission here.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't
Yeah, we're not trying to preserve the
right
life of the
first
of the
contact."
wildlife.
But it's interesting that is introduced into the story. Like I used to know a guy. He had this great saying. He was an improviser, and he said, "You don't put a dog in a play unless it's going to bark." And so, like, Spock's line, as in, like, it's a shame to kill it, when Kirk has the opportunity not to. It's not because he wants to preserve the last of a species. I think he's fascinated in trying to know what this thing really is.
Well, when Spock does the first mind meld hand to hand, and the Horta climbs on a rock,
Oh, that's right.
and he goes,
Says, no kill eye.
"No kill I," and Kirk's like, "You no kill me, or I no kill you."
Yeah.
The Horta means both, but the point is, because of the contact, the Horta can
now understands.
understand that we're talking about not an animal. We're talking about a sentient,
An intelligent being.
an intelligent being,
A highly intelligent being.
Just looks, yeah, right. Highly, one mind meld, and you can speak,
you can write. Yeah.
We're talking about a highly intelligent being whose planet you are on.
Right. Right.
Do you think with the, and you know, I'm sorry, it's left field stuff. Do you think when there's a mind meld that a Vulcan will sort of start with some basic vocabulary, and you know, is there like a download interface of images and language or whatever?
It's supposed to be in that moment. It's the original reason they say Vulcans don't like doing it with just anybody. It's supposed to be like a complete openness, and you see them and they see you. You see them and they see you, and there is no restriction or secret.
But do you think that there's a moment where they take some time to just teach?
I don't think so.
Oh, you think it's just
I think it's just
okay?
the gate's open, and as long as the two minds are at all compatible, I think there's an understanding.
And then you just kind of just pick up from that point. It's just like,
Yeah.
I know what you know. I mean, is there there must be some sort? At least the Horta had some retention.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's understanding.
Well, Spock always pulls away with greater information, and I would think the person he mind meld with
We'll have
would pull
greater
away
information.
with greater information.
Yeah.
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 Because the minds, he's not just reading; the minds are melding.
Yeah, because in other
That's true.
in other explanations of it, that's the whole point. It's openness. There's no
you
barrier.
get to know what I know.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yeah.
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 But the Horta writes a message, and that leans more towards the intelligence of it. Now, we've had all these clues leading up to it.
Right.
So when Kirk tells McCoy to save it, because Spock makes it perfectly clear the Horta is going to die.
He's dying from the wound. Yeah.
Kirk tells McCoy to save it, and McCoy's starting to deal with it. And then the mob runs in. Kirk becomes a defender of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He said, "No, you guys, you mob guys, we're not letting this happen. I'll burn you down."
Right.
And then the conversation, Kirk starts to explain. Well, Kirk asks Spock, "Where's the pump?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Ask the Horta, where's the pump?"
And the Horta gives
And
it
the
up.
Horta gives up the information because the Horta says, "I'm dying anyway.
Right.
I'm going to die. This is the end of my species.
Right.
So
Take your pump.
take your pump."
Right.
And tells him where the pump is. That's when Kirk goes off
Gets it.
and gets the pump and sees all the broken nodules
Mm-hmm.
and see what the miners have done.
Right.
And he says, the pump is perfectly fine. The Horta didn't even break the pump, which that was me. I would have destroyed the pump.
Yeah, I'd have melted the pump.
But the pump's perfectly fine, even though thousands of its nodules are destroyed. And Kirk comes back with a greater understanding. the Horde is not the problem.
Right.
And he begins to explain it to them and explain where their fault was, which is the beautiful point is, unlike in movies today where humans dig in the negative
Right.
and will not be changed by logic because they're so one-sided fixed.
Because they're evil or because they're greedy or whatever the case may be.
These humans change because they see where they're wrong. One movie that people like, it's a part of it I can't stand. It's the latest King Kong movie where Samuel Jackson is the colonel.
Oh, Skull Island.
Skull Island. And because he lost men,
he bullheadedly pursues Kong.
He bullheadedly persists to kill Kong because of the loss of men. And the guy makes it perfectly clear. You came to his island.
Right.
You start dropping bombs, terrain-altering bombs on his island.
Right.
And all he did was defend his territory.
Against you.
And now you're butthurt because his response to you where your men got lost?
He was supposed to roll over and yeah, you're right. That the administrator's response is, "Oh wow, we had no idea."
Well, I mean, to Daystrom's point about this writing is that you have to have an individual that is morally corrupt in order to move the plot along, where you could have just had an order sent to him.
Right.
As the colonel. In other words, he just gets off the radio and he goes, "We don't have a choice, boys. We've been ordered to kill this thing." And why couldn't that have been enough? No, I've lost some men. Well, that's what you do for a living.
Yeah, but you didn't need a morally corrupt guy to do that. You could have just, like you said, had an order.
There's also a natural point in that movie where he should have, as a military man, recognized that Kong wasn't the threat and let that go.
Yes.
And he doesn't.
So that's what sets negatively with me about that movie. But here the humans come in, and once again we're dealing with a 2-hour movie and a 1-hour episode, 50 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. The humans are like, well, we didn't know that they were eggs.
We had no idea what they were.
That we did this damage to the Horde, and everything we faced up to this point was a ramification or repercussions on what we had done. It's taking responsibility.
Because we were careless.
Taking responsibility for your careless action.
Right.
Well, my best friend died. Well, yeah, your best friend died because you did something stupid.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You did something uncaring.
Well, the administrator goes, "We didn't know."
Yeah. Yeah, he goes, "We had no idea. We didn't take Daystrom's biology class and realize something perfectly round must be a life form."
Yeah, but your space travels, you didn't, but nonetheless.
Yeah, you could go down a whole rabbit hole about that when they first get to the planet and they find these things. Doesn't somebody say, "What is this? We got to look at it."
Find me a rock that's perfectly
round. Well, no, I go back to your argument. It's worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, this is not Starfleet or the Federation directly. This is a private.
How many archaeological sites were just destroyed? Where it was like ancient, houses and all this. Would be people just digging a parking lot. Like if it's not part of the job, I don't care.
Yeah.
I get that.
Oh, we found a perfectly preserved ancient temple. Too bad it's sitting over all this oil.
Do you think it was a stretch when Kirk said, "Listen, I got," and he wasn't saying I have an idea. It's like he'd already had it all mapped out. Yeah, he'd already mapped out. And then I'm thinking, does the Horde have a little bit of telepathy and wasn't like communicating with Kirk subconsciously?
No, I think the information that Kirk got is no kill eye gave Kirk the understanding that because the Horde didn't attack him.
Right.
That the Horde is more reasonable than humans.
Well, and he had enough. He had what he got from Spock through the translation.
Right.
He also had what he knew up front. The Horde had left them alone.
Right.
Until they got down to the egg chamber.
Yep.
So he figured it out, and they kind of show him reasoning it out as he goes forward from there, and then he lays out the whole kind of proposal. This thing didn't care that you were here.
He says that.
Right, until you mess with the eggs. Okay, we got an understanding now. We can stop having conflict, and hey, there's a win-win here. They're gonna do what they do, and if you go in behind them, you get rich, which is right. It's the win-win.
Well, that was the real turning point. Is that the thing that flipped the miners wasn't this. Yeah. You know, we did the wrong thing, and so we better make this right somehow. Yeah. Where Kirk didn't leave it, it was that we're all brothers.
Yeah, Kirk didn't stop at the touchy-feely. He went down to the hardcore.
He that has the gold makes the rules.
That's right.
Because the fragilium must flow.
The fragilium must flow.
And you picture the miners, because they are somewhat moral. You picture them in a moment where they're like, all right, now we got to do this, and these things are going to be running around, and we got to go around.
Well, says there's going to be thousands of them here if we don't kill it.
Yeah, they're looking at an obstacle.
Right.
Yeah.
There's going to be thousands of them, and we got to go around them, and we got to stay out of their chambers, and this is going to be a pain. It's going to drive up our cost. All that could be going through his mind. Yeah. And then Kirk goes, hold on.
These are the greatest miners on
ever.
The face of the planet, on the face of any planet.
They can go places you can't go.
Heck, I'll be trying to ship hoarders to other worlds.
Yeah. Well,
can't take the sandworm off Arrakis.
Blow by.
Hey, Mother Hoarder. Do you know if we ship half of your children over to this planet, that your species is guaranteed to survive? I'll be shipping hoarders all over the place, man.
No. So the hoarders are intelligent, right?
Mm-hmm. Extremely.
We blow by to the 24th century. Is there a hoarder in Starfleet?
Remember, they have a life cycle. They die off for a period of time, and one is left to watch over them.
Right.
Yeah, but how long does one live?
I don't know. I think they say what the life cycle is.
Well, they say there's a 50,000-year cycle, so they're pretty long-lived, but do we got a hoarder hanging out?
You don't know if the cycle is 25,000 years of life and 25,000 years is just a single, or is it 49,999 years?
I don't care. I'm shipping hoarders, man. I'm shipping hoarders.
But I'm honestly saying they've discovered an intelligent life form.
No, I'm like Pike, man. I'm retiring on the hoarder trade.
You can't trade hoarders.
Oh, yes, I can.
There you go.
All I got to do is let Mother Hoarder know, and she's down for it.
Well, I don't think Mother Hoarder's got them all barcoded. I mean, if you took a couple of them.
You ask Mother Hoarder, man. She'll burn you down. You get permission. Get permission to ship her children off planet. So
Daystrom's retirement plan is column A, green, column B, super miners.
Yeah.
So do you want cheesecake or pepperoni? Is that what you're talking about?
Both, man.
Daystrom wants both.
Both, man. I be shipping hoarders all over the place. Shipping hoarders, man. They're silicone. They can live in freezing conditions.
You know how in the beginning the miners are going, is it true that the Enterprise is coming?
Yeah.
In another planet where they just found all these Phrygium, they'd be like, is it true Captain Daystrom's coming?
Yeah, I'm bringing my hoarders
with his hoarders.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be rich.
Here comes Daystrom with the hoarders.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta make lemonade, man. You gotta make hay while the sun shines.
There's a term, sentient trafficking.
No, you get permission.
You get permission.
Volunteers only.
Volunteers only.
Only the hoarders that want to lead us rock and go try out a new planet.
It's not Daystrom Hut. You're not delivering pepperoni to whoever. You're not delivering pepperoni to whoever.
I'm not scooping up hoarder babies and running off with them. I'm getting permission from Mother Hoarder.
What if Mama says no?
Well, then it's no.
Okay.
Because they might have telepathy. You take them off ship, they on your ship and they getting pissed off. You're dead.
Put in the comments how many months after Daystrom retires from Starfleet does he end up in jail?
No, everything above board, man.
Put in the comments. We got to run a spread.
Everything above board.
We got to run a spread.
They're a sentient life form. It's not like I'm shipping an animal. Mother Hoarder can talk to you.
That's true.
You just throw down a piece of steel and she can write on it exactly what she wants. Write up the whole contract and have her leave her signature. Leave a little pizza spread.
No, believe I. No, believe I.
No, Daystrom. No, Daystrom, me.
See, this is the moral of the episode. If you have an understanding of who you're talking to, you can avoid conflict.
Now, we should get to a very important point of the episode. So I had heard that this was the only Star Trek episode that did not have a young lady,
a female in it.
a female in it.
Well, it depends on what you mean by episode that did not have one. Was there,
Up until that time,
was there a female speaking role in this episode?
No.
outside of the Horta,
Was there a female? She doesn't constitute as a human
Yeah.
female.
right?
Was there a human female speaking
There was not.
role?
There was not.
Well, the Mother Horta didn't speak.
Right.
So there was no female speaking role in this episode.
But when we cut to the bridge, there's obviously a yeoman,
Yeah.
female, who walks on.
Yo, man.
No, man. That wasn't no man. Just one.
I know.
Just one. Vibrant,
Not just a regular yeoman, but a yeoman.
vibrant, high def, red.
Yep.
The red was popping.
Yep. And then we had our Jerry Springer final thoughts.
Yes, yes. Once again, our intrepid crew shows great coping skills as they glaze over
All the time.
all the fatalities.
Well, we talked about that before. We talked about how many people would die on the starship.
Sure.
And you just write a report and that would be the end of it. Maybe you call their parents. And you say, hey, you send a letter to the parents and, hey.
And Kirk only technically lost one guy this time.
That's true.
Technically.
Yeah.
Hey, your son.
Well, maybe we don't know what happened to those three that got beat by the miners.
This is first contact
Yeah, it is. Yeah, first contact's dangerous.
with the alien race.
First contact is
Your
dangerous.
son or your daughter has died in the middle of a first contact with a race that we're now friendly with.
And we can give you this.
And we will do nothing to them because we're friendly with them now.
And we can give you this broken phaser because there's not enough left of your son to put in a Ziploc bag. Sorry.
Terrible.
Sorry.
Terrible.
Sorry.
But we quickly glazed over the yeoman. But yeah, there was a thought that there was no females in this episode. But there is at the very end, there's a glimpse of a lovely young lady walking around the bridge.
Yes.
Better than a sharp stick in the eye.
Devil in the dark.
Devil in the dark. Well, wait a minute. Do you agree with Spock and the Horta that Vulcans are more attractive than humans?
No, she said she liked the ears.
She liked the ears.
I will tell you. What's her name on Enterprise?
T'Pol?
Is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ears are standing. Ears are outstanding.
Okay.
That's why there's a whole lot of elven fetish.
I don't think I've. Well, no. Yeah, no. I mean, have you ever seen a unattractive
Vulcan?
Vulcan?
That's not a thing.
It's not.
Well, Grandma Vulcan wouldn't look too.
She was pretty well put together for she was 100 or something.
Even her, she was doing pretty good for 150.
Yeah, she was.
Ish.
But I mean, they always make Vulcans always seem to be.
It's logical to be fit and healthy.
Oh, that guy, the guy who shot the Horta, also played the Vulcan
played a Romulan.
Amok Time.
I think that was him.
Yep.
And he was a Romulan.
And he played a Romulan.
Yeah.
Who?
The guy that shot the Horta.
Purple
in the episode,
purple jumpsuit.
He played the counterpart to Vulcan,
Mr.
Spock in
Okay.
Amok Time.
Stein? You think that
Yeah,
was Stein?
Stan?
Yep,
That was Stein?
I think so.
And he was the guy talking about at the beginning of the episode, I shot a Horta and nothing happened. But at the end of the episode, he's running around the tunnels with a
Yeah, I
pipe.
would-
With a pipe.
I wouldn't be if my phaser's not going to do anything to the Horta, I'm definitely not running around with a pipe.
That just shows you that there's just a little bit too much stress there.
Yeah.
Like he's not thinking right.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah. But
So-
but I'll tell you, why did the pipe? Once again, you put the dog in the play for it to bark. The pipe came in handy to beat down the red shirt.
Yeah, it did. It did.
You didn't notice
Yeah.
that when he turned it, it said red shirt special on
That's
the
just
side.
special. No, well,
Yeah, that's true. That's
The
true.
en-
The pipes are actually for humans.
the Enterprise crew should have beamed down with some of those engineering pipes that they use on
Oh, yeah,
genetically
con-
the
engineered
con
humans.
pipe.
Yeah, con
Genetically
pipe.
engineered
Con
humans.
pipe.
Engineering con pipes, man.
Mhm.
They don't bend.
No.
No, Con did bend it, didn't he?
If we
Kirk,
ever,
Spock-
Kirk bent it on Kirk Khan's head.
if we ever
No, I think Spock bent it.
Spock bent one in another episode.
Yeah. Khan didn't bend it.
No.
Spock bent it.
Khan
If
bent
we-
it with his head.
if we ever went to a convention, this is the way that I see the Men on Trek booth. Okay, So there's a table there for us to greet and talk to people. Behind us is a full-scale replica of the arch in the city
On the edge of
forever with
memorabilia engineering.
no,
pipes?
but what's yeah. No, but I'm talking about ice.
We're not selling Star Wars lightsabers.
No.
We're selling Star Trek engineering pipes.
Engineering pipes.
Can we make them out of aluminum?
Yeah. But that's our swag. Like there's CO2 coming, curling over the archway, and then our swag is like Men on Trek T-shirts, but there's like various engineering pipes.
Take your swing.
$29.95. You walk out with it. It's like,
oh my goodness.
All right. I mean,
we signed the pipes.
When the viral videos of people was like, I got cracked with a con pipe starts going, I'm fine with it, but
instead
I can't be accountable for what you did with a pipe.
That's right. Hey, Elon Musk sold
flamethrowers, and I still want one.
Yeah,
but yeah,
we could sign the pipe.
Yeah,
you buy the pipe. You can buy the con pipe, and we sign it.
I'm good with it.
Yeah,
we all need a.
You can even have the soundtrack of fighting put into the pipe. Where the guy's like,
as soon as you pick it up.
No, the cost has just gone way up.
And the copyright.
Because I'm just thinking about 3D printing these, and now we're gonna put a chip in there.
I want metal.
I just want them made out of something strong. I don't want them to bend.
I want a metal.
They had that kind of top with the rivets on it.
Yeah, and the little hook on the end.
Yeah, the hook on the end.
The hook's important.
Yeah.
That's what you jab them in the ribs with. The hook's important.
So
Men on Trek swag.
No, what were we talking about? We were talking about the female, and we were talking about
Spock's ears.
Spock's ears, and the joke that was done at the end about Spock being
more and more human every day.
Well, Spock makes a joke that he liked the Horta because the Horta's logical,
and humans are not.
And then they make a joke about Spock being more like a human because of all his emotional outbursts. And Spock was like,
I see no reason to stand around and be insulted.
Be insulted.
Yeah. Devil in the dark.
Devil in the dark. Honestly, it's a good. When you start to break it down, it's a good episode. We did poke fun at some of the holes in the logic.
But it gets where it needs to be.
It gets where it needs to be, and there's a lot of thought-provoking things we find in it.
And it's a moral story.
It is a moral story. The moral being before you resort.
Humans are bad. Animals
don't
are
judge a book by its cover.
Don't judge a book by its cover. Before you resort to the phaser, have a conversation.
Don't kill Frankenstein until you talk to him, even though he's got bolts coming out of his neck.
Yeah. Just because he looks like a double pepperoni with cheese doesn't mean he's your enemy.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, Men on Track.
Click like and subscribe.
Yeah. Especially the subscribe part.
Beam me up, Admiral.
Yes, sir. Right away.